magic or enshittification, K-pop Finance Week, and a big anniversary. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by a shower of cleaners and rods, and brought to you by No Disc, helping music technology and finance companies navigate the music industry in partnership with Digital Music News. It's August 14th, 2026. I'm Lars Murray. It's another Finance Friday. Now let's dive into the shallow money trench where thieves and pimps run free. Kobalt is the latest rights holder to sign on to the Spotify AI remix platform, the one we call the walled Prairie because Spotify's massive reach, matched with the fact that the remixes stay on platform, makes it a walled garden on a very large scale. It's quite tidy from a rights perspective, so it makes sense that both publishers and master rights companies and holders of both, like UMG, are signing on. Just more acorns falling off the music rights tree on the prairie to collect. On their recent earnings call, Spotify noted that they didn't really need the kind of comprehensive catalog licenses that they have for straight streaming to make this remix product work, but it's a much easier deal for the labels and publishers to do than, say, signing with Suno or Udio, who trained their models under shady circumstances. The big question, will users actually want to engage this way? Remix products are coming in at a time when online users are more passive than at any time in the internet era. Will remixes and the like counter that trend, or will they succumb to it? Is the Spotify remix tool a next-generation magic engagement tool, or is it just more enshittification? Time will tell. Let me know if you have an axe to grind on that, and I'll put you on the show. Well, given that it's KCON week this week in LA and that there's a bunch of other big K-pop and J-pop shows in LA, let's declare K-pop Finance Week. It's a good time to look at some K-pop quarterly earnings. Hybe actually reported its Q2 earnings almost 2 weeks ago, and predictably, it was their biggest quarter ever. Nearly one queener in revenue. Because why? Because BTS. Because Arirang. Product flow, as we've said so many times, is everything, especially in K-pop. On the other side of that coin, JYP Entertainment, Hybe's rival, did not have BTS, did not have Arirang, and did not have its big act, Stray Kids. It also did not have a big quarter. Now, the billion that Hybe racked up in Q2 is a pretty big number. It puts it right up there in the mini-major category. In fact, if you project it out across a whole year, it looks pretty close to BMG and Concord, and maybe even a little bigger than that. But what Hybe and JYP do not have yet, but probably will have at some point unless they get bought out by an actual major, is that sweet product flow that makes those sweet, sweet quarters steady and predictable. Throwing back to July, Olivia Jones of Media Research issued a report on the state of the K-pop economy, which factors in this and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a link in the show notes. Speaking of predictions and of media research, Mark Mulligan, Tatiana Cirisano, and the very busy folks over at Media have issued a new forecast for the music industry. Usually I get this stuff from Mark or Tatiana's LinkedIn feeds, but this time it came from Hits Daily Double of all places. The headline, more acorns falling from that tree. Global recorded music is projected to climb 62.9% from around $75 billion in 2025 to over $120 billion in 2033. I assume it factors in the unpredictable cycles of K-pop, and it certainly makes some assumptions about how folks will engage in tools like Spotify's Remix Walled Prairie product, about which I still have some doubts. From the future to the past, we're about to hit a 10-year anniversary. Damn, that went fast. That 10-year anniversary belongs to Frank Ocean's Blonde album, which came out 10 years ago next week. Aside from being a critical favorite and a commercial success, Blonde marked a bit of a turning point in artist-label relationship dynamics. Very long story short, Frank used a 1-2 punch of Apple-exclusive releases to seize control of his career. He released the video album Endless, which fulfilled his contractual obligation to UMG, and then immediately after that, used his newly gained indie status to release the main product, Blonde, and keep a much larger share of the proceeds for himself. It's not easy to hoodwink, hornswoggle, and heist your career away from someone like Lucian Grange, but Frank Ocean pulled it off, demonstrating to other artists that they had a lot more leverage with the majors than previously, and that model has persisted to this day. Why am I aware of this anniversary? Well, because friend of the pod, Hunter Giles of Infinite Catalog, spotted this significant development 10 years ago when it happened and took the opportunity to remind us of that on his Substack. You can go check out Hunter's more detailed account over there. And that's another Finance Friday. At the height of the lockdown in 2020, somehow I came across a band from Boston called Sweeping Promises. I liked their grit, I liked their songwriting, and then I completely lost track of them. Subsequently, they put out another album in 2023. It went straight past me, and then somehow a week or two ago, they popped back up in my feed. In the intervening 6 years, Sweeping Promises have moved from Boston to Lawrence, Kansas, the indie music outpost on the Prairie that historically has punched above its weight, all the way back to the embarrassment. You can look it up. And a shout out to Lawrence product Chris Gillespie of Domino Records. Anyway, back to Sweeping Promises. They have been on Sub Pop for a while now. They're heading out on tour. Their new album, You Say I Romanticize, is out today, and our song of the week comes from that album. It's called Coccoon, and it's fantabulous. It's on our Unlimited Supply official podcast playlist on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Qobuz. There's a link in the show notes. Support for Unlimited Supply comes from you, our listeners. Start the weekend by picking up some Unlimited Supply supporter swag. The limited edition Unlimited Supply Black Trucker Cap is on sale in the store, bundled with a year-long premium membership. We also have Unlimited Supply merit badges, or you can just buy me a cup of coffee. It's at unlimitedsupplypod.com. If you like what you hear and you want to help us without even laying down a dime, please hit the follow button wherever you get your pods. Follow us on Substack or drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. And tell a friend or three, preferably 21 times, because according to marketing whiz Susie Schultz, it now takes not 5, but 21 times for anything to sink in. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. In the words of the great philosopher Eduardo Rivadavia, don't let your short-term greed get in the way of your long-term greed. And remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest.